The AP rankings is where we'll begin in just a moment. They are out as we speak, days until college football begins. I count down by the minutes, the seconds, and the hours. So I'm going to give you 11 days, 23 hours, 52 minutes, and 34, 33, 32. That's right, seconds until the start of college football. That's not a lot of days. That is not a lot of days. No, not at all. Thanks for supporting local by listening to 93.3 FM, Real Talk. Only locally owned and operated radio station in Tallahassee. So we need your support, and we appreciate it. Appreciate all of you listening and watching and taking in the show, however it is you do, and that includes those of you in the chat. Good day to you, sirs and ma'ams. Hope the weekend was good to you. Can you believe second scrimmage is in the books? We've got the coordinators talking about that. We'll do a little with Mike Norvell today. We won't go all in. Coach Cameron translates today. Not as much to translate, quite frankly, Tom. This is pretty straightforward. I do want to say, there's a lot of places to start. I would start with the fact that, I just because I was really excited on the day that they got him, they stole him, and what it represented, what I thought the investment was in, and I wondered how quickly he could be a part of something. And it sounds like, just judging how quickly they talk about him and the highlight reels they've posted, man, the Cromwell pickup may have turned out to be a really big one before this is all said and done. There are other guys at running back, but I wondered whether or not he would be a guy that could play right away, just because it's a lot to ask of a true freshman to start a game or play a lot of minutes or reps in a game against an Alabama as a true freshman. But I think Cromwell's going to play a lot. That's what it sounds like to me. Now, again, I'm giddy. I love big time running backs, especially the ones that run with a lot of what for and a lot of power. And the clips we've seen of him, there's a whole lot of come get you son from Cromwell, which if you're a freshman, typically you wouldn't know that you're expecting to see that. You might see elusiveness, you might see speed, you might see great vision, might see hands. But come try to tackle this is pretty, high-level stuff for a true freshman. That I'm excited about. Jenkins got live reps. That's huge when we think about how ready he'll be to play against Alabama. Sounds like he's just going to play against Alabama. I don't think we have to qualify anything anymore when it comes to Jenkins, who I didn't think we'd see until maybe the halfway point of the season, given the nature of the injury. But at 260-plus pounds and a dearth of depth up front, that's a huge development in camp so far, finding out that he went over to Jacksonville and he practiced, and he participated in the scrimmage. This is a big damn deal.
Yeah, he's going to give you at least 12 to 15 snaps of the Alabama game, I think, at this point. Because, Tony White was careful today when he spoke about him, said he still had to knock the rust off, which makes total sense. Extremely limited, quote-unquote, was the description of the rep count. Well, who cares? If Bama runs 70 plays and he's out there for 12 or 15, that's 12 or 15 more than we expected a month ago. Hell, 2 weeks ago. This is a huge, huge deal for Florida State in the depth of the defensive front. Very good development.
Yeah, and then from there, various guys have popped in terms of descriptors and, who's had good days and bad days, and sometimes you get buoyed by the fact that a player who you have high hopes for had a good practice or a good scrimmage. Other days, it's somebody else that might be a surprise that you didn't expect to hear about. Jaden Jones comes to mind. Like, they keep talking about him. I'm surprised by that. But, hey, I don't care as long as it is factual and accurate, and he's making plays. Play doesn't care who makes it. So, again, you're happy to find out that they've got some I would tell you that maybe not a surprise, but a piqued interest in the fact that Wynn is going to play a ton. It is very obvious that Wynn is going to play a ton.
We'll get to translating Tony White a little bit later in the week, but Tony White, once again, wanted everybody to know that Wynn is getting there. Juju's getting there. He just needed to lose some weight. He did it again today, I think twice.
Yeah.
About shedding some weight in order to be able to play.
Yeah.
So Juju had one good final summer before college football starts in his life, I suppose.
Well, and I also think when you have never been part of a college football program, a college football nutritional effort, then you don't. A lot of guys don't know what it means to be in good shape because they dominated as is in high school. They were bigger, they were stronger, they were more explosive. And so when the only feedback you get is positive reinforcement in the way of dominating reps, it's hard to know, I need to drop 10 lbs. I need to drop 15. When everybody's good, the difference between being 10 pounds overweight or in shape can make all the difference, can be the separator. So for him to come in and now you're facing grown-ass men who've been playing football for a long time, that can be obviously a pretty eye-opening experience. You'll still have the strength. You'll still have a lot of the qualities that made you an elite recruit. But whether or not you can sustain that over the course of a really physical practice or scrimmage could be why it is you need to lose 10, 15 pounds. So, yeah, I'm sure that was eye-opening. The talent, though, seems to be evident in the way that they talk about him. It's probably not a great thing that so many young guys are being talked about as distinct contributors and individuals that are going to play. On the other hand, I just like that they haven't decided to give anything away just because you're a veteran. I love that, Mike has talked about it. Tony's talked about it. Gus has talked about it. There are long roundabout ways of them saying, if you're making plays right now, it doesn't matter if you're a freshman. It doesn't matter if you started last year, didn't start last year. It just matters that you're making plays when we have an opportunity to evaluate you in our new system. I mean, to me, the biggest jump you want to hear about from scrimmage 1 to scrimmage 2, and it's unique to the situation Florida State finds themselves in. How many of those young guys and how many of those veterans alike, they're learning a new system. So you ought to hear about real growth from one scrimmage to scrimmage number 2. It ought to be that there's very real progress because now there's a greater confidence in what you're doing. You were able to watch the film from the last scrimmage and any of the mistakes that you may have made, confusion regarding scheme and your role in it. Obviously, you would work off some of the rust if you're a veteran player, but if you're a young player, maybe you steel the nerves now because you've been through it. You've been in the fire. You've felt full contact. You've been in a game-like situation. So there are a lot of reasons why there ought to be a collective big step forward in a second scrimmage. I wish there was an organized, firmly established, labeled date and time for a third scrimmage because I'd really like to see then if they took yet another step. You'd love to hear the eval from that. But there isn't going to be an official another scrimmage.
And I know that you can't do this, or you probably shouldn't do this, but in theory, they could hold a scrimmage between Alabama and Virginia. They've got all the time in the world. If they wanted to go vanilla for their Commerce and their Kent games, and they wanted to light it up during the bye week before they say they take a break. Like maybe if they took a break Wednesday or Thursday, and then they'll meet the next week for a prep for their third game of the season. You could almost, if you wanted to, because of the unique layout of this schedule, do something like that, where you game plan, you shrink the rotation, everything with an eye towards Alabama, and then you regroup and you look at it over again, and then you get ready for your ACC schedule at the end of the month. The more I'm looking at the calendar, the more I realize Alabama game is critical for perception, for recruiting, for the big money boosters, for the stadium, all that stuff. It is critical. But then you do have another preseason of sorts and another ramp-up effect before you get into ACC play for Virginia and Miami right out the gate.
You also have 19 days until you play Alabama. I don't see why you wouldn't have another scrimmage 5 days from now, 7 days from now. Listen, this could just be by name only. They'll probably do something that's akin to a scrimmage between now and the Alabama game.
Gus is lobbying for it.
Well, I think both sides would. I think Tony would. And again, the approach of being physical and just allowing guys to compete and not having grandfathered in positions just because a guy has been a 3-year starter or a 2-year starter, or a guy has held down a position, it's refreshing. It ought to be a meritocracy always, but we all know that it oftentimes is not. But when you go 2-10, you don't get the right to come back and assume your position and be the starter because you've started before. Yeah, you started on a 2-10 team, man. You guys didn't do anything that warrants some sort of advantage over anybody else coming in and competing for your position. Obviously, it was a failure, an abject failure across the board on both sides of the ball a year ago. Nobody did anything well. Now, you'd have clear-cut favorites to win jobs, sure, and guys that it would be tough to beat out if you're a younger player. But everybody's got to have a really good look after you go 2-10. It sounds like that's at least happening. Sounds like the intensity of these practices and these scrimmages are where we want them to be. Mike has lauded that, spoken of it. We'll talk to Ira Schoffel next hour. He's certainly written about it on Warchant.com when a coach is, I think, probably more aware of his words and the impact of them and the way he describes a player, a practice, a team. For him to say as much as he has said that this team competes, that they have quote unquote real fight. Okay, well that's refreshing to hear. Nobody's going to believe it until they see it. They've been burned, but I don't think he would choose to describe them that way if it wasn't there and that was filler. To me, it's because he's seeing that in a way that he didn't previous or wasn't perhaps enthralled with a year ago. So we'll see.
And listening to Tony White, too, it sounds like obviously there are some dudes who are slacking behind, but there is enough of a core that is pressing forward, and they're not going to wait. That's the whole message is we're not going to wait for y'all. I'm not waiting. I don't care what your potential is. I don't care what your career says up to this point. We are pressing forward, and if I need to do that with freshmen, I will. And it's that simple. And if you come to me crying, I can show you the tape. And there it is. It's just rhetoric sounds really good right now from new coaches, but we didn't hear it last year. We didn't hear much of that, especially you didn't see any evidence of that in season. Where was, and we've said it many times, in September, October, November, when you know that this thing is off the rails.
Unraveling.
Why not just play the freshmen? Why not play the younger players? If you're worried about burning a shirt, okay, how about a second-year player? Why not allow those kids to play? The energy you're getting from Tony specifically, but also a little bit from Gus, is I'm not waiting around for this next wave of dudes to establish themselves. They can or they can't. But we got guys that we know that are going to compete and play to the level that we expect. And if they happen to be freshmen, so be it. Don't care.
Again, you can't care. You really aren't. And the game has changed enough now, too, Tom, where I think it will sort of to me, it cleanses a little bit because you don't owe anybody anything anymore. They can leave you in an hour, and they're being paid. So we're done. We're done, massaging and figuring it out and hoping that 3 years from now you're going to be a prime starter for us, but I got to keep you around. I made a promise to your mom and dad. You're just a freshman. I need you by the time you're a redshirt junior. Those days are long gone. I need you to play and play well. And I know how it goes. It works both ways. If you think you're playing well and you're doing everything asked of you, and there's a junior in front of you and you can't beat him out, but you've been impactful in practice, you're gonna shop that tape and you're gonna try to go somewhere else at the end of this year because you want to play and you want to play right now and you want to get paid. And there's gonna be a team out there that needs what you are, who doesn't have a junior kicking ass going into his senior year, and they're going to offer you more money than we can right now, and you're going to take it and leave us. So I can't concern myself with whether or not you're going to be here when you're a senior, because there's a good chance you won't be if you're any good. So all I'm going to do now is, can you play, not play? Can you help me right now? Because I'm done worrying about anything to do with your sophomore, your junior, your senior year. There might be players where there are exceptions to that rule, but for the most part, I think you come in swinging all the time now. It's just, can he play? Does he take hard coaching well? Does he get better? Is he doing what we're asking of him? Is he physical? Do they have the thing that we're desperately searching for right now? And if the answer is yes, then I'm not really worried about who that upsets. So I hope that's where we're at. Plus, Florida State's in a unique situation because both coordinators, we think, want to be head coaches. Now I don't know. I can't say for certain that Gus Malzahn is shopping for 2 years from now a head coaching gig one last time before he rides into the sunset in retirement. He's made a ton of money, all of that. But it seems to me that if he's successful and does well, and over the next couple of years, this offense turns into a top 20 offense or something like that, he would get offers, and I would guess that he'd be listening to those offers. And we know Tony White wants to be a head coach, period.
Big Suey. Maybe Arkansas would call him.
Right. You don't know, right? But that's all contingent upon the success that they have. And it starts this year. And that's a good situation. You want competition. You want aspiration. You want people trying to better themselves and to get further and doing their best work and all those things. You don't want contentment across the board.
Right. Yes. The idea from Tony, you're not going to mess up my career. Hey, man, you're not getting in the way of my goals because you decide to play hard one day and then you don't the next day. I don't have time for you. I've got bigger fish to fry and larger checks to cash. And because you want to be inconsistent, that's wonderful for you. You could do that someplace else. You're not doing that for me. If I'm not going to get the check that I believe I am due very soon as a head coach, well, I'm going to do it with kids who play.
Big Ten has won the past 2 national championship, and they have 2 of the top 3 teams in the AP poll for the 3rd straight year, 6 in the top 25 for the 3rd year in a row as well. We'll tell you about the SEC teams, the ACC teams, of course, and the Big Ten teams. AP top 25 out. Cursory glance at that next. Chev Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
I got some pretty spooky news from my Paul's termite and pest control technician the other day. It turns out that I'm sharing my home with Formosan termites. Those little monsters do damage about 4 times faster than the regular termites.
Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
Hey everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansforknowles.com. That is, again, loansforknowles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Knowles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansforknowles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Equal housing lender, NMLS 373031.
Widden Glass has been taking care of business since 1945. When you call Widden Glass, you're dealing with experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best. Like Widden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures that provide style and luxury at an affordable price. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Widden Glass. We'll help you design it and install it. Widden Glass, the first name in glass replacement. Call 222-5781.
Water is your home's worst enemy. It finds cracks, soft spots, and weaknesses. But not on our watch. At Gutter Solutions and Waterproofing, we're veteran-owned and built different, driven by detail and the pursuit of excellence. We install seamless gutters, underground drainage, and waterproofing systems that don't fail. Because when you live with discipline, water doesn't stand a chance. Gutter Solutions and Waterproofing. Visit guttersolutions.net. With us, it's personal. A roof isn't decoration. It's your home's first line of defense. At GSWP Roofing, we treat every build like it's mission critical. We're GAF Master Elite certified, led by a former Marine. And we don't cut corners. We execute with discipline, precision, and materials that hold the line. Storm after storm, year after year. Repairs, replacements, full installs. This is roofing done by the book. No excuses, no shortcuts. GSWP Roofing. Online at gswproofing.com. With us, you're covered.
License number CCC 1335048.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
As I mentioned, it is AP poll day. No big deal. Not as big as the coaches poll, Tom. See what I did there?
What is?
It's so easy. Texas ranked number 1. No real surprise there. Rapid fire. Let's take a look, shall we? Penn State 2. Okay, man. Go ahead and flash that up there, Tom. You know, you made the graphic for it. Isn't the tint of suspicion now on the wall? Isn't it? There it is. There's our first tint of suspicion for today. You knew that would be as soon as Penn State's name was mentioned.
Perfectly suspicious eyes in that tent.
I love it. He's not buying it. Oh, I know. There are a lot of good players. Penn State's got a lot of good players. Tint of suspicion has rarely ever been about whether or not there is talent on a particular team. Does have to do with the frequency with which that talent is not met with a commiserate season and or ranking. Penn State's 2. Ohio State is 3. Interesting. Clemson 4. Oh, great. 5 is Georgia, followed by Notre Dame, Oregon. Alabama at number 8. Yes, we're playing Alabama. That is their lowest preseason AP poll ranking since 2008.
I wiped up the tent of suspicion for old Alabama.
No, I would.
I'm going to poke the bear. Or I guess the crypt of the bear. That's what I'm poking.
You want to know how successful Alabama's been? That's their lowest AP poll ranking since 2008.
Sounds like some sort of preseason ranking that we would have had like an 03. And, we're like, it's Florida State. They're going to be fine. And the next thing you know, you're in the middle of a lost decade. That's where Alabama's headed.
That's what you're hoping.
They're right for their lost decade.
LSU at 9. Miami rounding out that top 10. Go ahead, Tom. Oh, no. I mean, good God.
All right.
They've participated in the championship game once since arriving in the ACC. Well, they'll forever be comfy in that tent until they start doing something of note.
Sometimes I feel like the tent of suspicion is too kind. It gives them too much attention.
That's true.
Perhaps there should be the silence of indifference.
Yeah. The distant echoes of what once was. Arizona State's 11, Illinois 12. Good God, you wake up in Champaign, Illinois today, and ordinarily you wake up and say, why am I in Champaign, Illinois? What are we doing here? What wrong turn did I take that I found my life in Champaign? But today you say, hey, it matters not. We've got a top 15 ranked team. Come on, Fat Bielema. Take us home. South Carolina at 13, Florida at 15. Michigan was sandwiched in between the two of them at 14. SMU at 16, K-State, OU, Texas A&M. I think you saw the stat from Texas A&M. I think that for 7 straight years, something like that, they've been ranked inside the top 20. Only once did they finish inside the top 20 at the end of those years.
Make it 2 years. Believer in Elko.
Okay, I'm a believer in Elko too. Indiana, Mississippi, Iowa State, Texas Tech, Tennessee, and Boise State, rounding out your top 25. No Florida State University residing inside that top 25. All that's left, Tom, is to shock the world.
Hey, buddy, you get that first win over Bama. Next thing you know, by the time you're hosting Miami,
with a bullet,
you'll be 4-0. You'll be inside the top 20 at that point. Easily.
We've created scenarios that are fun to ruminate on over a cold beer. What happens if you lose to Bama big and you come back and win the next 2 games? Is your mind right as you head to Virginia for the ACC opener. Okay, let's say it is. Where are you at if you fall at home to Miami? Both teams you'll be an underdog against. Now you sit at 3-2. The only teams of significance you've played, you've lost to.
You love this scenario.
I'll tell you why. It reveals everything you need to know about whether or not Mike Norvell will be here. Because if they pack it in, he's done. If they're different, really different, truly different, and they're competent and they fight and they have some shortcomings physically, but they are in it for each other, they fight and they play hard all the time, then you could still have a good season, even in a scenario like the one I just laid out. But you'd have to be strong mentally to handle it, because there's going to be a lot of noise in the system surrounding losses if they happen. Then again, you could remedy that situation by winning one of those two games. You could absolutely make that a non-starter. And then I would think with a win in either one of those games, you're invested for the year. You're invested for the year because the possibilities are still very good. Possibilities would still linger of you making the ACC championship game and thus giving yourself a chance to make the playoff. So, if you could get a win in one of those two, it would be of huge importance. But either way, it's going to tell you something, an awful lot about the program under Mike Norvell and where their head's at. And, we don't know the answers to those questions. Like I said, they'll be underdogs in both those games.
It sounds like, too, there's a possibility that they might be okay for the Alabama game, not good enough and not quite ready. And I don't mean that the coaches wasted time. I don't mean that.
No, they're in a race against time.
Correct. And perhaps not all those elements are in line in time for the Alabama game, so they have to shrink down what they want to do. It's 75, 80% of what they'd actually like to run for Miami, for example, and they'll go with that. And maybe it's enough, maybe it's not, but the team truly could grow by the time you get on the road and you do play Virginia and the time you do play Miami. That's one thing that I'm gonna do.
Good
my
teams
best.
do that, Tom. Good teams do that.
Well, and they do that even without coordinator changes. There is evolution to teams that have continuity in their coaching staff and on their roster, and this team has none of that. There is no continuity with the coaching staff and the roster beneath them.
In
None.
truth, they should be their worst. I mean, if you're just projecting based on the newness of things and the change in personnel, both from a coaching staff standpoint and on the field, they ought to get better with every passing week, but look their worst right off the bat. I'm not trying to downplay the significance of the Alabama game and their chance to win it and compete at a high level in it to the fourth quarter, whatever it might look like. I'm saying that just reasonably, if you project it out based on all of the upheaval and the changes that they've gone through and what they're trying to implement now, they might look their worst very early in the season. And by the time we're at week 6, week 7, we go, to play that game now.
Right. Yeah, they had their crash course.
Yeah.
They weren't quite ready for prime time, but now look at them. Oh, my goodness. That gave them the chance to refine all these extra things and, really
add
strike
wrinkles. And
strike at the point that they're trying to make in camp. They're like, you don't believe me? Now do you believe me? After I told you that you need to do X, Y, and Z, and you messed up on a couple of those fronts, and Alabama made you pay? Again, they could still win that game. And then you go, you should have got us then. Look out now. Because for the same reasons we're talking about from a pessimistic standpoint, if we get out of that with a win, like, oh, Lord.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, that's a much more fun scenario to project or portray.
Well, it could be a trampoline effect. You're like, now their confidence is soaring, and they really only had 80% of what they wanted to run. Well, look out.
I wonder how many Florida State fans, if they're being completely honest with each other or completely honest with us, would tell you they really believe. We all want. We're all hoping. I wonder how many truly believe Florida State is going to come out in the first game of the season and knock off Alabama, given all of the upheaval, all of the things that they're trying to get done. I think it's I've reiterated this a few times, and I don't mean to beat this drum, but I think it's evident. They just couldn't get a lot done in spring. And clearly they're in a race against time now to get all of the catching up that they need to do done in time for this Alabama game. And it's not the coach's fault. They weren't like dilly-dallying. They just didn't have the personnel they needed. So many guys were nursing previous injuries. Some weren't here yet. So you have a situation by which you couldn't get a lot done in spring.
And without being insensitive, by the time they were getting some of those players back, they had to cancel their last 2 practices because of an on-campus tragedy, which they needed to do, but it cost them a resource.
More time. Yeah, it did. Alabama's first scrimmage is in the books. Apparently things went well. Concerns about special teams seems to be the overriding theme coming out of Alabama's first scrimmage. I don't like that. I don't like hearing that there's concern solely about the specialists. They have to replace all 3 specialists from last year's team. They all ran out of eligibility, so no experience there. They've got a true freshman punter that they've brought in. They brought a Cal transfer in to be the long snapper. They've got new guys returning kicks and kicking and punting. I would have rather have heard grave concerns about the defense.
Sounds like they still don't know who their quarterback is, at least.
Well, they're not saying publicly anyhow who their quarterback is, but they are saying that the offense looked pretty good in that scrimmage. Just notes from Bama's scrimmage and those that cover that team. Greg McElroy also said this on SiriusXM, so he was at the scrimmage saying that he thought by and large they looked good. Things were smooth. He came away from that worried about 2 position. Well, a segment group and the tight ends. He didn't feel like we're anywhere near where they need to be, and he's got concerns about that position. And then he came out and said that he thought special teams was flat out not very good early on, which, okay.
That's interesting. Yeah, especially if they've got inline responsibilities for those tight ends, that could be a communication breakdown for them. I know that they have a little bit of concern at right tackle. That was local beat reporters over the summer saying, Proctor's fine at left tackle. He's projected to go first round. For him, it's does he care, which is quite the thing. It's a weird thing for a kid that talented. They feel great about the interior of their line, but right tackle could be a problem. So if you got right tackle and tight end issues on the right side, communications, you might be able to break something if you're Tony.
Domination. Blow it up. Make them one-armed. Shannon Young has, of course, been my guy for a long time, and I've told you about loansforknowles.com. He's with Cross Country Mortgage. That means better rates. That means better options for you. You want options when you're searching for the right loan to buy your dream home or just to buy a new home. Stronger support, faster response. He's serving 7 states these days: Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, Texas, and the Carolinas. Shannon is a relentless, goal-oriented individual, hardworking, integrity-laden. 20-plus years he's been doing it. He's helping you right now at loansforknowles.com. That's loansforknowles.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Overcast skies this afternoon with storms likely. High temperatures reach up to 83. Southeast winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies tonight. Chance of thunderstorms. Lows level off around 75. Chance of thunderstorms tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 90. A blend of clouds and sun. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, it's 79 degrees.
Feeling sluggish? Wake up your body the right way with Vigor. The all-new Vigor Cold Plunge Tub from Hot Spring Spas is now available exclusively at Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas in Tallahassee. Boost circulation, reduce inflammation, sharpen your focus, and more. Elite athletes do it daily, and now you can too. Experience the power of cold therapy in your own home. Come see the Vigor Cold Plunge, available only at Pinch a Penny on Capitol Circle Northeast and Greer Road.
The 2025 hurricane season is here. Are your gutters and drains up for the challenge? If not, now's the time to call New Vision Gutters. Your trusted local team that keeps water out, no matter what the skies throw at you. Full service from top to bottom for gutter repairs, gutter installs, leaf and debris guards, drainage fixes. We handle it all. Don't wait for the next big storm to find out you've got a problem. Call locally owned New Vision Gutters today. We keep our minds in the gutters, so you don't have to. Online at newvisiongutters.com.
Still waiting on that load of laundry to finish? If your dryer is taking forever to dry your clothes, the problem might not be your machine. It could be a clogged dryer vent. J. Walker Enterprises specializes in professional dryer exhaust cleaning, improving dryer efficiency and helping protect your home from a potential fire hazard. Don't risk it. Contact J. Walker Enterprises today and breathe easier knowing your home is safer and your clothes will finally dry on time. Visit jwalkerenterprises.com, the company locals trust.
Haven't seen this guy since, what was it? Oh, shoot. U2 at the Sphere in Las Vegas, baby.
Hey, how about that, man? Wasn't that fun?
Good show. Good show. Everything about it. Nearly perfect. Nearly perfect.
I had everything I could possibly want.
I wanted one thing, couldn't find it, and I looked everywhere. No Cubans.
What do you mean?
No Cubans.
There was Cubans.
No, I didn't see any Cubans.
Dude,
no.
I'm sure there was Cubans there. I mean, you know.
No. I walked around. There was a moment right before the show. I thought, got to find some Cubans. Nothing.
Dude, there's Cubans. There was Cubans. I'm sure there was Cubans.
In Las Vegas?
In Las Vegas.
No Cubans in Vegas.
There's Cubans in Vegas, man.
Eddie, there were no Cubans.
Chef.
The sandwich. There were no Cuban sandwiches. You're Cuban. Of course I know there were Cubans there.
Oh, the sandwich. Yeah, no, there probably wasn't many there in Vegas.
No Cubans.
No, not yet.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Guys, I haven't heard much about Shaheem, Hussey Lyons, tight end, Sampson, Jones, Cam, McCoy, Rawls. Any intel? Rawls has been good. McCoy, you're not hearing much from in that he's banged up.
Yeah, same for a couple of the tight ends.
Yeah, a couple of the tight ends are banged up as well.
Not old Randy, though.
No, Pittman's been great every day, and he's going to continue to be the man. Let's see. Shaheem, I don't think Shaheem's a starter, so you're not going to hear much about him.
Not one word, really, from the coaches this camp that I can recall. Maybe one word, but not much more.
You got to know that I'm going to continue to point to this, that go back and watch last year's season, and he would be high on the list of people that you thought, that's not going to work. That's not going to work.
Yeah, from the comment here, the question from FSU BK, the first two names, no, I'd move on. Lyons, I've heard okay things, but he's certainly not being singled out like, Kevin Wynn. And Darryl got shouted out today as somebody's playing all across the line. Quindarius was banged up and just returned to full work late last week. So
and when he's played well, right?
Yeah, probably unfair for him. Cam Davis has been mentioned in passing, but not at the top of the list of the running backs. He got a small shout out, I think, from Mike on Sunday, or I guess that's last night. But it's mostly, it sounds like it's Sawchuck, Chroma, Roydell, in whatever order you wish at the top right now.
Well, if I wish, it's going to be Chroma, Sawchuck, Roydell.
Yes, and if I wish, it would be Sawchuck, Chroma, Roydell. But we'll see what they do for Bama.
If we're still wishing, I'd have Roydell further down the list, and I'd have other people playing. But so as long as we're going through the wishes, that's the route I'd go. Actually, if I wish for anything, I want guys that run really hard, guys that understand what they're being asked to do and get after it. That room is very full. You can do it, Jeff. So, you don't have time to be half stepping. No pussyfooting. You got a lot of bodies.
Yeah, when asked about the running backs last night, Mike Norvell shouted out Sam Singleton for his returning prowess.
I laughed at that. I think it was Corey that asked the question about the running backs. What made me laugh, or maybe it was Ira, but who was your best running back? That's what I think the question was. And he named every running back on the roster.
Yeah, but when he shouted out Singleton, it was because of return capability, which he took one to the house against Duke last year, and that's good. But yeah, that's another way of saying, the competition's from the Oklahoma transfer, last year's Alabama transfer, and the guy we stole from Georgia near signing day. And that's fine by me.
Man, I'm telling you, man, the guy we stole from Georgia seems to have been a great guy to steal from Georgia. The fact that we said it that day when they got Chroma, when they flipped him, the fact that Georgia was mad was a really good sign. And the fact that you had to throw some serious coin at the issue because they were willing to, then you were getting a guy that was well thought of. There are no guarantees, but Georgia's put some running backs out there now.
Well, and look, we spent a lot of money in that last week of the signing.
Yes, we do. Well,
period.
it was the only way to get anybody to say yes to Florida State after 2-10.
But that means that they had money to spend elsewhere on another player if they wanted to. They could have gone a different direction, but they told you that he was a priority. They weren't just throwing money around at everybody. I don't think that they have it like that. Now, they clearly have cash because they got a lot of high-profile flips, and Arnaud is one of them. And Arnaud was shouted out for a good performance in the scrimmage yesterday, and he's a true freshman. Even though he was a 3-star, that was considered in the recruiting community like, oh, that's a solid get right there. That's a nice steal.
They love him. They can't stop talking about him. And they talk about something that you don't often hear about a true freshman, which is how physical he is right off the bat. That's really something. That's a great sign to be a true freshman and to be kind of singled out for your physicality in the run game. They already knew that he was going to come in and be able to cover, so that was exciting.
And the whole thing is about getting their hands on him and making sure he's mature enough to handle the position and handle the position that he's in, like the larger thing. And that's what Tony White said today was, this is one of the reasons you love coaching is you can grab a guy like that and guide them on their way. I think if he's not a maturity concern,
right,
it's a total steal. And I think that's probably why he wasn't taken by maybe some upper tier Power 5 institutions off the trail.
Well, I kind of like this defensive staff for getting a guy on track. I kind of like their makeup and their track record, and I would say that I feel pretty good about if you're going to be able to get a guy to fly right. This Tony's a no-nonsense guy, played the game at a very high level, is a straight shooter to the point, and I think that in a good and bad way, meaning like you're going to hear it when you're not doing it right. If you're a Jake, you're called out for it. If you got talent, you'll be told you have talent, but you got to harness it. This is what I need from you. You decide whether or not you want to play, because if you do this, you will, but if not, you won't. Just that simple. No ambiguity, no trying to massage egos or figure it out. It's, here's the deal, man. I like you. You're talented. You got to keep it together emotionally. You gotta take this opportunity. Now, here's what I do need you to do physically within this scheme. This is what I'm asking you to do. Can you do that? Because if you can, I'm going to play you. I'll play you. And if you can't, then you won't. And when you can, I will. But that's straightforward. That's fine.
It's what makes this era of college football at least somewhat interesting to me is that dynamic of the relationship. You're right. No massaging egos.
You don't have to.
You don't have to take the extra time. But how does that work on the trail versus when you get on campus? I think the best way on the trail is to just be as distant as you can while being somehow relatable. Because Tony White's energy today, even Gus, speaking on, hey, the guys can come talk to us, but it'll be clear why they're not playing. Whereas 10 years ago, I think you'd have to put your arm around the shoulder a little bit more. I think this is a little bit more at arm's reach.
Thankfully. I mean, I just think that's the freedom it affords you when you're paying somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, again, this is like professional football. They're not coddling anybody in professional football unless you're transcendently good. We've seen diva receivers and diva other positions, and that maybe they'll get coddled a little bit because they're freaks of nature. I mean, Antonio Brown is a bad dude, but he was a really, really good receiver for a stretch there in Pittsburgh, and they put up with a lot of nonsense. A lot of nonsense.
Yeah, there's a quarterback in the NFL nobody wants to mention because Antonio Brown's on Instagram Live screaming down police officers and all kinds of nonsense, yelling at his woman, kicking her out of the house. And people like, he'll be active this week.
This Sunday.
We've got a package ready for Antonio Brown.
But, unless you're that kind of freakishly good, you're not. That doesn't happen. You're not good enough. I got to play the guy that is. So my job's on the line. I like getting paid too. I want to keep this gig.
It's like Tommy said, we have to save our jobs.
Speaking of Tommy, we haven't spent a lot of time on Tommy Castellanos. My big picture takeaway from not having seen a single practice is that he's been good and bad, which, by the way, is exactly what he's going to be in the season. Good and bad. You're going to see the good Tommy Castellanos where you go, ooh, there it is. That's a playmaker making a play. That's a guy that took a play that was dead and buried, turned it into something because he made a guy miss. He bought time, threw to a spot, guy came open late. It all worked out. Then there's going to be the bad Tommy where you make the mistake. Maybe you weren't technically sound, footwork weren't there, forced a ball. You don't have a big enough arm to do that. It's a bad interception. It was a bad time to take a chance. It was an unnecessary moment in the game, and you're going to be mad about that, and then you're going to turn right around and entrust him on the next drive to make plays because that's why you brought him in. And I think that when you get the descriptions of Tommy so far in camp, it's, they still have more than half their practices left before the start of the season. But you'll hear about good days, bad days. And they've really kind of, I think, focused in more, at least when they talk about it, Mike, when he talks about it anyhow, on how does he respond to the poor play? How does he respond to the bad day? How does he respond to when they're challenging him? And I think from what I can tell, it sounds like he's responded well. He's responded, responsibly, with some maturity. You'd like to believe that's going to be in place, given a guy at his age who's been in the game of college football for a while. So that's good to hear. Squirrel White getting mentioned left and right these days, and I think it was big for him to go on the road to Jacksonville and have a couple big days and then have a play in the script. To be able – I like the Squirrel White updates almost more than all the other updates because I thought there were real concerns about whether or not he was healthy Squirrel White. And when he came over from Tennessee, we thought, all right, if you're getting that guy from a few years back, then you've got a guy who's been uber productive. You're getting the guy that's been dinged up for the better part of 2 seasons, then you worry about it. But it sounds like he's making plays.
And this is a place where you're getting definitive answers from the coaches in terms
that is correct.
In terms of the position group itself at receiver. There is clear separation on the roster. Deuce, Squirrel, Boggs. That's right. True freshman Boggs. Clear separation before you get to the next wave of guys. Now, McCoy's been banged up for a good portion of camp, so maybe he would be competing, but nobody else's name is in that mix right now at receiver.
Every once in a while, you get a B.J. Gibson mention.
Right.
And I would say that I don't like how quiet it is around Elijah Moore.
Yeah, there was more mention of him early in camp, but even today, Gus said it when he was asked about the receivers. He named the big 3. And that's what it's going to be right now is Deuce, Squirrel, Boggs. And he says, and it starts there. That's the foundation. Well, okay. He doesn't like to rotate anyway, and they'll probably be splitting out one of their H-backs or tight ends.
That's correct.
So that's, that could be Landon or Amari or Lofton, any one of those 3 guys. I mean, I know Randy could be there too, but Randy's going to be on the field in all kinds of places. So there are your 4 receivers, and if somebody wants to compete like a Jalen Lucas, he's a gadget player. I don't count him in the same breath as a standard receiver. Or a Danzy. You've got gadget players, your big 3 receivers, and then your slot type tight ends. I think that's it. That's going to be your passing game this year.
Still no Brock out there, I guess. Still nursing injury there. That's
short term.
Yeah. Well, see, buddy, this is what I'm telling you.
We're going on 2 weeks.
Yeah, we're going on. He's the
nothing
third-string
long
quarterback
term.
is what we're going on. I would also say that I do think, wide receiver, that you're right. It's interesting. It's just those 3 guys seem to be the guys. And I don't know who else they would get to emerge there, but Boggs, Deuce, Squirrel, those are your guys. And then I was really hoping that Elijah Moore would be mentioned more often, but it's not there. When you're nursing injury too, it's frustrating because you're trying to implement now, you're trying to get guys up to speed. And if you miss a week, you miss 2 weeks. We don't have time now. Luane McCoy seems like he's going to be hard pressed to be of any value here as we start the season.
Yeah, what I'll be interested to something Gus mentioned today was regarding, they're trying to cultivate options beyond the starting 5 of the offensive line, and they're getting there. Jake Rizzi obviously
coming back,
made it back to full contact. He's been the counterpart to Jason Jenkins. Quicker recovery than they expected, so they're pleased about that. We don't get Herb Hand. I'm trying to pull it up. I think it's like 10 more days before we get Herb again.
By then, you'd like to know that Simmons, Otto, Rizzi are the 3. So you have 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, we heard about Lucas Simmons from Herb Hand. Haven't heard a word about any of the backup offensive linemen really since. And we get Herb on the 20th. So a week from Wednesday. I'll be curious to hear what the update is there. Because Gus might mention in passing that they have a 6th guy that they like. I'd love to know if there's a backup tackle in that rotation, because when I hear the Desir twins are dominating every day, my thought is then they're going against Simmons and Daniels. They're not facing our starting tackles, and they're eating in second team reps. Like that's my guess.
But again, you're going to talk about so many young guys that are going to have to play for them this year on the defense. it's so funny. I mean, every time you bring up somebody they mention a lot, you're like, well, that's freshman. That's freshman. That's a new guy. What do you make of the Amari Williams situation? I know Landon
kind of
Thomas
a strange answer.
I thought so.
From Gus, he said it's up to Coach Norvell on the splits, but it sounds like he's going to be on offense. That's what it sounds like to me.
I thought going into camp, the opposite would be true.
Yeah.
I thought going into camp, Amari would be, and that tells me, amongst other things, that I guess Jenkins is going to play, and that they're moving guys all around on that line, and they had room where they could move him back over to offense and let him do that.
Yeah, if you're just thinking about pass rushing, there's no red flags on James Williams as pass rushing goes. He's been brought up, having success in the backfield, havoc plays, all that kind of stuff. Jaden Jones obviously got a lot of run early in camp. I think Tony White's basically insinuated he hit a wall today, but that's to be expected because he's been hurt. But yeah, Jenkins, Desir twins. You would think that Amari's name would come up, would be my point.
It doesn't.
Not on defense.
No, it sounds like he's going to be a tight end. So I don't love that. I like Amari. Just get something out of it, one of your best athletes. But I don't love that development. Let's put it that way. Hour number 2. Good God, it flies by when you're talking football. Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV. Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Some men follow the crowd. Others take the long way, the wayward way. At thewaywardgent.com, we've curated the gear, gadgets, and grit every respectable man needs, from the fairway to the fire pit. We've identified the top-rated Amazon finds, so you don't have to. No fluff, just the good stuff. Visit thewaywardgent.com for the man who's not afraid to live a little off course. Thewaywardgent.com.
Hey, you, can't you read the sign? It says, keep off the grass. Oh, but I just wanted to feel it. Excuse me? I wanted to feel what it was like to have an amazing lawn like you do. It always looks so good, even in the summertime. How do you do it, neighbor? They're called Lawn Johns. They come once a week. Maybe you should give them a call so you can tell other people to stay off your lawn. How's that sound? Ooh, yes. I would love to tell people to stay off my lawn.
For the very best in lawn care, call the Lawn Johns at 850-322-2567.
Stay off my lawn.
Very no school, you can put them to the test. Very no heating and air conditioning, keeping you comfortable. Is what Barry does best.
No matter how busy life gets, your home is the place where your family and friends show you they care and celebrate with you. That's why the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning always make sure your home is comfortable. Just like those who matter to you most, Barano will always be there for you.
This is Tyler from Barano Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 1816186.
Very no heating and air conditioning.
Tired of watching baseball score updates on your phone? Get off the bench and head to the CP. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is your home for all MLB games in-state or nationwide. Enjoy the coldest drinks, Tallahassee's best wings, and watch your team in crystal clear comfort. And if you'd like to compete, come by Tuesday nights for CP Trivia and Thursday nights for Beer Bingo, where you can walk home with cold, hard cash. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachie Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee. Your Sports Flash update on Real Talk 93.3 in Tallahassee.
Watch list season does continue in college football for Florida State. Redshirt senior center Luke Pettibone is on the Remington Trophy watch list. That goes to the nation's best center. Junior Randy Pittman Jr. and sophomore Landon Thomas are on the Mackey Award watch list. That each year goes to the top tight end in college football. At Florida senior center Jake Slaughter, he is also on the watch list for the Remington Trophy. In baseball, Tampa Bay Rays, they lose to the Mariners yesterday, 6-3. Mariners sweep the series. The Reds now head to Sacramento to match up against the A's in the series that will begin tonight. Marlins lose to the Braves yesterday, 7-1. Miami is off today. Tomorrow they'll match up against Cleveland. This Sports Flash is presented by Progressive. Bundle auto and home, renters, or condo insurance and save with Progressive. I'm Matt Pauley on Real Talk 93.3.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Give me those sauces, grab the chicken strips, let's dunk them in there. There's nothing like it. Hey, I'm Joey. And I'm Josh. And we're team members at our local Chick-fil-A. And a little thing you'll love about the Chick-fil-A chicken strips is dipping them in our sauces. My sauce is the barbecue sauce. If you wanted to add sweet, tangy flavors, there's nothing like it. I love the garden herb ranch sauce, but if you want a little bit more kick in the spicy side, you can mix it with buffalo sauce. Dipping them in our sauces, it is perfection.
It's the summer of Chick-fil-A chicken strips and sauces. Order now on the Chick-fil-A app. Team members paid for their testimonials.
Games for Less, Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used games, as well as new and used consoles like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Atari 2600, PS4, and PS5. You name it. Locally owned and operated since 1994, trade-ins are not only welcome, but Games for Less pays more for your trade-ins than the big stores. That's not all. Games for Less now buys and sells new and used vinyl records to boot. George loves the Beatles, by the way. Reserve all the new releases today at Games for Less, conveniently located in the Walmart Supercenter Plaza on Appalachian Parkway.
Some men follow the crowd. Others take the long way, the wayward way. At thewaywardgent.com, we've curated the gear, gadgets, and grit every respectable man needs, from the fairway to the fire pit. We've identified the top-rated Amazon finds, so you don't have to. No fluff, just the good stuff. Visit thewaywardgent.com for the man who's not afraid to live a little off course. Thewaywardgent.com.
What do you need tires on? Your car or truck, tractor, or heavy equipment? At Nice Tire and Auto Service, we have tires for all of these needs. And we service your vehicle from air conditioning and computerized alignment to oil changes and everything else under the hood. Call Nice Tire and Auto today at 574-4100. That's 574-4100 for your scheduled maintenance. National accounts welcome at Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Blountstown Highway, just west of Capitol Circle.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
the pictures from inside Doak. You've seen the latest shots from the stadium?
I have. Yes.
I like it.
Yeah.
I liked it. Looked like we did a little something there, huh?
Yeah, I saw that they have the vodka iced teas and the vodka.
Oh, is that what you were
lemonades.
excited about?
Well, no, that's the booster photos that they put out there.
Yeah.
One of them was, this cocktail area where people can go get some drinks.
Some cocktails.
Yeah. Say that word again, Tom. Yeah. I found that all right. It looks like they're facing the interior of the building, and it's starting to look a little bit less like South Bend.
When you would walk around, and I think because we were all so fond of the way that the old erector set had been transformed into a facade that was as beautiful and is as beautiful as Doak is, you would then, especially those of us who'd been going to games for as long as my old ass has, and certainly as long as my old ass dad has, I can remember, just how rudimentary the setup was, if you will. And I can remember, the slow and gradual progress made. You would ignore the fact that it left something to be desired underneath the stadium.
Yeah, because hell came with it on the field. That was the thing.
You had wins, and you had a modern look on the outside. The facade was unique and beautiful, and you could overlook some of the other stuff. And over time, when the amenities mattered, you thought, well, we're lacking. We are sorely lacking in this arena. We don't have working Wi-Fi. There's these little cigarette pits where people go, and the urinals are disgusting. There's not a lot of options here. Not a lot of good options.
Hey, cross your fingers for the Wi-Fi. I will be in the stadium for the first couple of quarters for the Bama game. I'm going to test it. I'm going to see how it does.
Well, yeah. It's funny. Wi-Fi has taken a back seat in my list of concerns going into the Bama game after 2-10. Wi-Fi is the kind of thing that you can concern yourself with after a lot of success in this world.
Yeah, that's true. It's a luxury item, but I honestly, what I'm going to be trying to do is pull it up on YouTube TV on my phone so I can catch during the copious amounts of commercial breaks during college football games, see what the hell just happened, and if there's a reason why. And that's a great test. Can I stream video from my seats?
I doubt it.
On the alumni side during the Alabama game?
Probably not.
We'll see.
I'm going to go in with very low expectations about that. I just want to play good football. Just want to play some good football, baby. Get me in that stadium. Let's see some good football. Let's see some hitting. Let's see some guys that care. Let's see some passion, some speed, some what for. Some get you some. It's been a minute. It's been a long time. It's been a long, long time. I know you'd say, well, what are you talking about? We were really good the year before. That's right. It is now 2025, and we went through an entire football season in which not nary an effort was given for 12 games after the first quarter against Georgia Tech.
That D-line ate against Cal in the second half now. Even Marvin Jones Jr. was getting in on the action in that game.
That tells you how bad Cal's offensive line was.
It was tackle for loss fest 2024.
Even Marvin Jones Jr. See, that breaks my heart, the phrasing, just to say that out loud.
It was real.
Yeah, I know.
We lived it.
I know.
You went to Chicago for it.
Oh, 52-3, right? I had to listen to trash talking from kids that don't go to Notre Dame, stand outside in that dump of a town with their last vestige of hope to talk smack to a team that just is having their worst season of all time. Made sure they said it to me while I was with my wife and kids.
Very secure in their fandom up there.
It was something to behold. Anyhow, when we play Notre Dame in South Bend again, I'd like for us to be at a place where I could go proudly walk through those antiquated, run-down, dilapidated doors, sit in that godforsaken stadium, and know that this is a game into the fourth quarter. Let's hope. Let's hope. I also hope that we continue to get the kinds of reports that we're getting right now from the assistant coaches and from the head coach, which to me have been pretty transparent. And I've been pleased. I've been pleased that again, I've said this before. Let's be honest with where we're at. It makes it a lot easier for everybody who walks into the stadium with eyes wide open. Don't give me this biggest, strongest, fastest team I've ever been around. Where are we at? And right now, when you listen to them talk, just as we did last night, I think, by the way, that what you hear is some good and some bad, which sounds about right. Given all that they're going through to try to get ready for this game and all the different players and leaders of the personnel and all that. It makes sense. New coaching staff, new offense, new defense. There's going to be some bumps in the road. There are going to be some headaches. There are going to be some good days and bad days, and that's what we're getting described as. I mean, that's fine with me.
I think Mike said it last night. Practice 10 was the scrimmage last night. It's like a 15 to go. I mean, if you think about it that way, typically scrimmage 2 is when you get definitive answers and a depth chart follows. That's not the way this was laid out. We said it from the outset when they released the schedule for camp. We're like, holy crap, scrimmage 2 is early. That usually is when the jobs are determined and the lists are finalized. Not the case here. They still got a long way to go.
Yeah, and that's why you can, hear these kinds of, hiccups or bumps in the road and say, that's fine. I mean, they don't have to be ready today. They got to be ready 19 days from now is when they've got to be ready. And ready they better be. I better see a good game for a half, 3/4. I better see something that says we're prepared, we're of sound mind, locked in, competing with one another, we're physical, we have a clue, we can handle adversity. Like the way that football teams who look like they're organized play. Remember, I brought this up time and again last year. I think for every Florida State fan, it was maddening. You were reminded every Saturday that there were bad teams that played hard. It was possible. There were teams that just simply weren't good enough, but you were going to have to beat it out of them and take it from them and earn it. And generally the good teams did that to the bad teams, or the average teams lost to the better team, but they were in it. It was a game. It was a couple plays away. If they'd caught a break, if that kid had just held on to that first down pass on 3rd and 11 around the 50, they wouldn't have had to punt there. Now they punt it back. The better team went down, scores 2-score game with 8 minutes to play. They're probably done. But boy, they sure fought hard. They sure fought hard. That's a team that plays hard for their head coach. That's a team that plays hard for one another. They care about the game. They respect the game. They respect one another. They respect their teammates, the fans. They respect the school they play for. They give a damn. That you saw it every Saturday from teams you hated. That's why last year down the stretch, we were all sick to our stomach. Was it another loss that made you sick? Or was it that you lost, didn't care, flipped over, and watched Florida beat LSU and play really hard for that guy? That's what really it made it very difficult to stomach.
Because of the job, I often frame, a game day in the way that it's going to end for me, which is the lead of the post-game show. And my hope is that when we sign on for that post-game show after Alabama, if nothing else, I can say that 2-10's put to bed, and now we get on to the discussion of 2025. And that could be in a loss. That could be in a multi-score loss. That you still sign on and say, all right, it ain't that. I know it's so sad that we have to comment on that in the first place, but it happened. It's in the books.
It did happen. Yeah, you do have to answer for that. You are going to have to show me that it's not that. And I'd like to believe, I'd even like to assume that it can't be that, won't be that, never would be that. It's such an outlier as to not be believed. Many years from now, we might even have a good chuckle. No chance, right? No, you got to prove it.
Yeah, I feel like that's the least Florida State could do against Alabama is provide enough evidence that 2-10 is over. Like whatever that was is done. But I still need to see it, even though I know that the high likelihood is camera rolls. Here we go. Post-game show. All right, everybody. At least that 2024 nightmare is over. Now let's get into what we are in 2025. That's probably going to happen, but I still have this little bit of fear because last season had so many weeks. Yeah, you point to the Notre Dame game in 52-3. I point to the truth serum game against North Carolina. We talked about that the week leading up. This is a truth serum offense. They will run the ball, and run the ball some more. And if you don't want to be there, they're going to smoke you. And then the game lines up. It starts okay. And then as it goes on, you go, well, they don't want to be here.
They don't want to be here.
I mean,
they don't want to be here.
Dog. Is that over? I'm hoping so. It probably is.
We think it is. It makes a lot of people who are ready to move on angry that it comes up. But you don't get the benefit of the doubt. That's the hard part, man. That's like the disappointment. Almost like I don't want to be condescending or patronizing to Mike Norvell. But if you thought of Mike Norvell for the purposes of this analogy as one of your kids, and you assume the best about your kids, you watch carefully. It's your job to raise them, so you're not blind to things, but you're paying attention, and you'd like to believe that they get the benefit of the doubt because time and again, when you've entrusted them in big moments, they've done things to earn that trust until they don't. And then they have a misstep, as every kid does. And there's a transgression that you really do have to punish. And there is a moment where you feel that disappointment. It's okay. You're not off of them for life. You love them, but they made a terrible mistake. So what happens the next time? Well, you don't assume that they're going to do the right thing or that they're going to do it the way you want them to do it. You're going to say, I'd like to believe you. I need to see this through, because you don't get the benefit of the doubt anymore after last time. And that's where you are. I mean, that's the sad part. That's where you are with Mike. You're like, I want to believe in you, Mike. I want to believe that this was a blip in the radar and that this was a crazy scenario and you were the victim of a blight to which the college football will never recover from. As it affected the integrity of the sport. You were screwed in a way no other program in the history of college football has been screwed, and it had a lasting effect and carried over in a way we could not possibly understand and resonated to the tune of 2-10. Like that's every excuse-making thing you could say about that situation, right? And you'd love to give the benefit of the doubt, but you can't. You got to see it. You got to see, like, okay, we're done with that? We're good? Okay, good.
Again, it was really, really hard to go 2-10. With the amount of talent we had, with the schedule we had before us, it was very, very difficult to achieve 2-10. And everybody worked together to find a way to achieve 2-10. But 60 minutes, 19 days from now, can finally wipe that taste from your mouth, even if it is an L that is on the platter. If it looks a certain way, you'll say, all right, I can work with this. Now let's get to the business of beating, Virginia, building up towards Miami.
Well, this is interesting, by the way. He flipped it in the question. He wrote DTAC, D-T-A-C-C. What needs to happen in the Bama game to say 2-10 is not over? Oh, 2-10 is not over? Listless.
Fighting on the sidelines, all kinds of stuff.
Listless, not playing hard. Not giving effort, not playing with any sort of pride or fight or integrity, or just kind of doing what we saw them largely do last year. Like, you can lose that game. I've said this time and again. I don't like talking about this because it presupposes a blowout loss that I don't want to mire ourselves in that conversation. I don't. People think I might want to because I don't think we're going to beat Alabama as I sit here today. I'm not saying we can't. I'm saying I don't think that we will. If I had to bet it today, I'd bet Alabama to win. Now, I maybe wouldn't give all those points that they got out there right now. But if I'm just picking a winner right now, as I sit here today, I pick Bama. So why do I bring that up? Well, because you could lose the game and you could come out of there feeling so much better about who the team is and what their prognosis is and projections. And it could even be, I've argued, it could even be a bad loss, meaning a lopsided loss. And you could still feel that way. It's how you arrive at the number. Did you arrive at this number through really hard play, hard work, tough-nosed football, and you just didn't have the hosses? You just didn't have the depth. You just didn't have the dudes. And you got beat down by a program who's recruited a lot better than you have for a long time. And it was tied at 17 in the middle of the third, and it ended up being 38-17 final. But you played really well and got worn out and just didn't have anything left. But it was all out on the field, and there were some signs of really good things to come when you're not playing a team like Alabama that has a bunch of NFL players as projected by any number of draft projection sites, right? It's not just I mean, this is objectively true.
A couple of 50-50 moments. Like they put the ball on the deck. Alabama does a couple of times, but they keep it. One of which they advance the ball for a first down when you could be getting off the field.
Right, we've
a
seen
nonsense
games like
defensive holding call that it prolongs a drive. And you're like, I mean, all right, I get it. We don't complain about the refs, but let's be real. That's fourth down. They're punting, but they all add up. Remember the Wake Forest game early in Mike's tenure? It was a noon kick on the road.
That game pisses me off.
They called Mackenzie Milton's quarterback sneak.
I'm still mad about it.
Actually, it wasn't even a sneak. They called it a straight run.
You know what makes me mad about that game? Isn't that the game we also got screwed on that ridiculous call for the roughing?
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm still
circumstances in the beginning of that game imploded any chance you had. You never had a real chance because I think we're coming off of J-State, right? That's 0-3 probably, and that 0-4 start. I think that is. So we're coming off of that loss, not feeling great about ourselves. But yes, you have the Wake Forest sideline going nuts for a penalty that never existed.
Didn't exist.
You had two other moments just like that where the officials found something, invented something to either prolong a drive or end a drive for us or negate an explosive play for us. And you're like, okay, all right, well, what the hell?
That was a crazy roughing the punter penalty or something like that.
Something
it was
like
not
that.
roughing.
Yeah,
I was like, what do you? Yeah.
And then by the time we fight back into the game, we got 4th and 2 or whatever it was. And we call McKenzie on a
one-footed Mackenzie Milton out there trying to hop his way for a first down. What were you trying to prove?
Come on, Kenny.
Golly, Kenny. See, the disabled can do it too. What were you doing? 4th, you know what? I'm going with the sneak, Mike.
They'll never see it coming.
No, they won't.
Yeah, but you know what, Kenny? They'll have plenty of time to react.
They'll figure it out about 6 seconds into the play.
Which, hey, you know what? There's a parallel. That's the DJU call against SMU last year. So there you go. We got some parallels. Parallels in pain.
Oh, man. See, it's too easy. We're still too far removed.
Sprinkly dinkly.
Yeah, we're still too far removed from the start of this football game. We've gone down. The negative winds hit the plane and turned us towards the mountain.
Right. Kenny's not here.
No.
Atkins is not here.
No, Kenny's kicking ass at Arizona State is what Kenny's doing.
Yeah. You know what changed it for him? The Mackenzie Milton run call. He's like, you know what? It was in that moment I realized.
Never again. By the way, of that AP top 25 that we went over to start the show, because that poll is now out. Hey, now. I found a way in both hours. Which of those teams, just like we said upon viewing the coaches poll, which of those teams in that top there 15 do you think, nope, get them out, not going to happen? Because we are in a volatile age of college football.
Yeah.
A volatile age in college football.
Top 15?
Yeah, so Florida, Michigan, South Carolina, Illinois, Arizona State, Miami, all candidates. The rest are top 10 teams.
Yeah, I think in that top 25, LSU's a candidate. I mean, come on. They lose 3 games every year. That puts you right around 16, 17.
You're not a big-time quarterback, but anyhow, go ahead.
Well, yes, they do. Illinois for sure. I think it's just a course correction. You either buy low or sell high. So this is your sell high moment on Illinois. I think South Carolina will be there. Michigan, I don't think so. It doesn't sound great from camp up there.
It doesn't sound good, does it?
No.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy.
And Vegas, the way that they're setting numbers for Michigan games,
it's been. You're like,
they don't believe.
They don't believe at all.
Florida, because of the schedule, I don't know. Man.
Well, it all depends on Lagway's health.
And a couple of bounces. It's that schedule. They could be going 8-4, and you feel good about them, but they'll be 18th in the country.
Well, if they're 8-4 with that schedule, they might be in the top 15. That is ridiculous. This, from history, one of those teams. I'm throwing Arizona State out of there. Get out of here. You were a raging fluke a year ago.
Yeah, but I don't think they have any major games outside of their own conference. So it might be that
fluke, I tell you. Get out of here.
Should we do Arizona State? Well, actually, we got to do our own W's and L's.
You got no more Scatterbo and all the steroids in the world that he brought to the table, allegedly. No, sir. He of the 16 concussion Scatterbo family is gone.
All right, rapid fire. Northern Arizona, Mississippi State, Texas State, at Baylor, TCU, at Utah, your favorite program.
Loss.
Texas Tech, Houston,
Loss.
at Iowa State, West Virginia, at Colorado, Arizona. Like 9-3.
Yeah, 9-3, 8-4. Not that impressive in that league.
8-4 in that league will not get you in the top 15,
No.
top 18.
Get him out. Get him out, Tom, I tell you. Cold plunge tubs.
Hey.
Fitness revolution. That's right. Every morning. That'll wake your ass up. Get you moving. Also, reduce swelling. Does a lot of things. You'll get up. It's now something that is quantifiable, the effects on your body that are good for you. And that is why Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas and our friends, by the way, not just with the hot tubs, but the cold plunge tubs now. That's right. You can get them Greer Road. Check out the massive number of tubs on display. They'll give you a trade-in value and credit towards your new tub and haul away your old tub as it maybe time to make a change. It's affordable. Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas. If you're ready to relax, they're ready to show you how. Man, I miss the 5-seater. I miss that 5-seater hot spring pace model. What'd you call it? The Pentagon?
The Pentagon.
Comes with a cover. Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas. Ira Schoffel next. Next.
This time of year, we enjoy spending time outdoors in this beautiful North Florida climate until the mosquito attack begins.
Paul's Termite and Pest Control can help you take your yard back. We have an affordable program to help keep mosquitoes away, and our program even helps with other pests like ticks.
Mosquitoes are a nuisance to you, and by carrying diseases such as heartworms, they can be harmful to your pets.
Learn more about how Paul's can help protect you, your family, and your pets from mosquitoes. For the elimination of termites, pests like mosquitoes,
and a greener lawn too,
call Paul's. We'll get them all.
Do you want to take your yard back by having a green and pest-free lawn?
At Paul's, we understand the unique needs of your North Florida lawn, which is why we developed a program to address those concerns.
Our treatment program includes inspection, treatment, and education on best practices for optimized results while remaining environmentally conscious. An added benefit is that our lawn treatment is flea suppression, so having a greener lawn can help protect your pets too. For a greener lawn and the elimination of fleas too,
call Paul's. We'll get them all.
For most families, your home is your biggest investment. That's why Joel Higgins built ACL Home Inspections, providing you thorough, precise, and efficient information with same-day, easy-to-read digital reports.
Probably one of the most common things that we find is a water heater drain line. It's meant to be plumbed a certain way, and a lot of the times in a retrofit situation where they replace the water heater is a different size. Lots of times they'll say, I had no idea, and it's the home that they live in, and they walk past these things every day. They're not even aware that it's a danger, much less that it's even there.
Protect your family's biggest investment. Call ACL.
Having your HVAC system operating properly is probably the biggest thing for high temperature events. So I always recommend a service agreement with a local HVAC company that will come twice a year and clean and service your HVAC system, and they can spot problems.
Call today, 850-312-8919.
Hey, this is for my homeowner friends out there. You know who you are. When you get your grass cut, you're going to inspect the work, make sure it's good. Get your house painted, check around every corner and edge, make sure that's done right. Get a new roof. Got to get eyes on those dead cleaned. Bet you're not popping your head down in there to take a look around. You got to trust it's done right. I'll make it easy. Go see my friend Greg Miller Septic. They're my guys. I trust them, and you can too. MillerSeptic.com. That's it. That's the commercial. That's the whole thing. Check them out. That's MillerSeptic.com.
Ain't nothing but a G-Pod, baby.
I am 99% sure that is not how the lyrics go.
Well, you like remixes, right?
Of course.
Well, think of this as a Grassroots Coffee remix per se, because Grassroots Coffee is now in the single-serve coffee pod game.
Dude, those single-serve coffee pods and cups are weak sauce.
Not Grassroots Coffee G-Pods. They have more coffee in them than regular single-serve pods and cups.
Seriously?
And not only do they have more coffee, they have a built-in filter for better brewing. They fit in most Keurig machines, and they are fully compostable.
It's still the small batch, slow roasted coffee you love, so go to grassrootscoffee.com and get your box of G-Pods today.
Baby!
See? Remix!
Well, actually, that's more of an homage.
Grassroots Coffee, locally owned, locally roasted, and made for everyone, loved everywhere.
Grassroots Coffee G-Pods. So very good.
There is no Bigfoot, Eddie. Would you stop with that nonsense?
There's Bigfoot, Jeff.
I wish there were. By the way, I don't want you to point to me as the guy that takes all the fun out of the room. I wish there was the Loch Ness Monster. I wish there was the Bigfoot. I wish there was the Chupacabra. All the things.
They're all mythical except for the Bigfoot. The Sasquatch.
The Bigfoot?
The Bigfoot. There's big feet. There's lots of them.
So like different, breeds, like different kinds.
There's like, families. There's different families. And,
so there's if they're in the snow, you call them a Sasquatch.
Or the Yeti. Right,
Yep,
and then
Yeti.
Here in Florida, that's a skunk ape, and but
never heard that one. By the way, why do you think it's real? We would have found them by now.
They're the hide and seek champions of the world. Nobody finds the Bigfoot.
But I think you believe in Bigfoot.
I do believe in Bigfoot.
You don't believe.
I believe in Bigfoot.
Don't tell anybody you believe in Bigfoot.
I would go look for Bigfoot, but he scares me.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Rolling on, Big River. It's about time. Feels like it's been way too long since I had the opportunity to pick this man's brain, get the insight from our own Ira Schoffel, Warchant.com, joins me as he's wont to do on Mondays when I'm not flat on my back sick. Hello, Ira. How are you, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good. We're not only are you healthy, but we're actually, we're less than 3 weeks away.
Buddy.
It's a good time.
No, it is a good time. I do the days until college football begins look every morning when I get up, even though I know what yesterday was. I know what it was the day before. I still check it just to see it. So, the 11 days and 22 hours until the start of college football, man. And we're almost in the single digits, and we'll be there this week. It's glorious. What do you make? I have had big picture discussions on the show about what we're hearing about camp, and most of them have been, I think, positive in the sense that I appreciate that the coordinators, I feel like, have been pretty forthcoming in their assessment. And I know you wrote the piece on Warchant.com. I told people to go read it because I thought it perfectly encapsulated exactly what I was thinking and what I was drawing from their message, which is that there's a race against time. They're both trying to implement their scheme, find out which of the guys can run it, who should be out there of the starting 22, and they need the other to kind of help out with that. So it's like my day, your day, my part of practice, your part of practice, but with that comes this sense of urgency. I also think that Mike has largely been positive in the sense of how hard he thinks they're fighting. I know you're writing about that today. Your big picture takeaways so far, since we haven't got a chance to talk on the show in the last couple of weeks.
I think one thing, and as I listened to you talk about it, something that just crystallized to me, which I think is accurate, is, Mike, Gus Malzahn and Tony White have different goals, different ideas of what they want to accomplish in terms of numbers of players. Gus, we've talked about it ad nauseum. He's not a guy that wants to play 20 guys on offense. He'd like to play maybe 12 or 13 or 14 guys on offense.
Mm-hmm.
So he's getting closer to that number. And I thought, as we talked to him today, I think he's feeling better. His big anxiety last week was the offensive line. It's still not where it wants to be, where he wants it to be, but he's now seen those guys for a week, and he said he's seeing progress, improvement from day to day. So I think, if that gets resolved, what he's seen out of Deuce and Squirrel and Boggs and Cromon and all these guys on offense and Tommy, I think he's feeling like, okay, I'm getting closer to where I need to be. Now, does he have the depth he needs? Probably not. But he's not going into the season looking to play 20 guys. Tony, on the other side, I think is probably more happy with some guys on the first team unit than he implied today. But the more we ask questions, you realize his frustrations were mostly about, I think, maybe the back end of the top 11 into that next group of players. Like, he wants to see those other guys who are going to be in the rotation really step up and play like some of the starters are playing. So I think it's interesting, that Gus, I think he was worried about his starting 11, but now I think he feels better about it. I think Tony probably feels pretty good about starting 11, but he knows he needs 20 or more because you just have to play that many guys on defense. So I just think it's an interesting juxtaposition.
Is there anybody that has been mentioned maybe more than once, good or bad, or maybe that somebody hasn't been mentioned, that stands out to you in terms of the silence is deafening, or man, this is for real. This guy's going to matter. He's going to be part of what they do, either side of the ball.
I mean, I think there's a few. The ones as far as omissions, I mean, Shaheem Brown has to be at the top of the list. I mean, he does not get mentioned ever. And he's a guy that started for the last 2 years. I mean, he was on that, he started on the 2023 team that we all, thought was a good football team. And so you thought maybe, he did not play well last year, but you thought, okay, fresh start, new defensive coordinator. He's got so much experience. Certainly he's going to be a big part of it. I don't know, man. I mean, I think he's running with the twos. And early in camp, I thought, okay, you're sending a message and maybe he'll fight through it and take over. But I'm not getting the sense that that's happening. And when you talk to people who are at practice, nobody's talking about the plays Shaheem Brown is making. So that has been a surprise to me. A couple of the, defensive linemen I thought Mike could step up. Like, again, when you bring in a new coordinator, you're thinking this is a fresh start for some of these guys, Daniel Lyons and some of these other guys on the defensive line that had been here for a few years. In the spring, they talked about how much they were challenging KJ Sampson to make that next step. And you're just not hearing much about those guys. So that's where I think what's happening on defense is you've got the starters who we pretty much know. I think we have a good feel for who those starters are on defense. But then that next group, is it going to be these freshmen that he's so high on right now, the Shamar Arnaud and the Desir twins and those guys, and Juju Wynn, are those guys passing the second teamers? That's been real interesting to me. And then offensively, I think Cromah, we all hoped he would be that guy. It definitely seems like he's that guy. He everything they throw at him, he's handling it. And speaking of throwing, he threw one of your starting linebackers from last year the other day. So that's it's impressive for a freshman.
You think that when that got released, that Blake was like, "Hey, man, I mean, what are we doing out here? You don't have to slow this thing down."
Do we have to slow it?
Well,
I'm on the team too.
Yeah, it's a classic. Yeah, Notre Dame.
Yeah.
You know
the league too.
What's funny is every player who's ever come up to try to make a tackle that's had that happen to them in their life, and if you played long enough, it happens to everybody.
Right.
The blank moment in that video is so obvious. It's so quick. Blake doesn't bend. And as soon as it happens, I'm watching this video, not knowing what's coming, and within a second of it starting, knowing what's coming. And I'm going, "Oh, no, sir, stop the video. Stop the video." Because he's standing straight up. You can't be even with the shoulder pads when a dude that big is running the ball. This is not going to go well. Offensively, do the same thing he just did.
Yeah, I mean, I think offensively, there's I think it's pretty much what we thought best case scenario was going to be. I think you really hope that they hit it on these 4 transfers on the offensive line, and it seems like they have. Now they didn't, you didn't know it because they weren't all together. The tackles didn't do a whole lot in the spring, and I think we knew Luke Pettibone. We knew Luke Pettibone was the real deal based on the spring. We knew he met the expectations. We thought, it sounded like Adrian Medley and Richie Leonard would be fine at guard.
Mm-hmm.
And the tackles, Gunnar Hansen and Micah Pettis, like you knew that they had a track record, but until they did it, you just were a little bit nervous. But man, I think that after a week of that, I'm just hearing so many good things about that offensive line and what they could be. That's real exciting. So to me, it's like, and then even at receiver, could Deuce be a better version of what he showed at USC? Could Squirrel get back to what he was two years ago? Again, we're not there yet, but it's all of that seems to be trending in the right direction. So I think that's been the biggest thing there. And then, you'd love to see some more guys emerge, those backup receivers. And, you'd like to hear more about the tight ends who've been banged up. But overall, I think on the offensive side, it's more about, okay, the things you wanted to see and hear, I think you're hearing them.
Who is Tony White talking to when he says there are some guys who, quite frankly, need to step their ass up? It's unacceptable.
I mean, I go back to that group of guys who are probably not starters, but are old enough that they need to be in the mix. And I think it's, and I don't know this, but you just look at the names he didn't mention.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're looking at the KJ Sampsons and Daniel Lyons,
yep,
and Conrad Hussey and some of those guys in that second group. Maybe he didn't mention a couple of the other, DBs that have been around along, and Shaheen's a guy he never mentions. And so, again, I think he feels pretty good. I believe he feels pretty good about starting 11. It's just that next group that he needs guys because they're going to have to play. You're not going through a season with 11 key guys on defense.
I will see you tomorrow, good sir. Thank you, brother.
Thanks, Jeff. See you, man.
Yep. Ira Schoffel, Warchant.com. Smash tonight?
Smash tonight, 7 o'clock.
That's you and him?
Me and him.
Shots?
Not tonight.
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah. We did our shot for, you were there for that.
Yeah.
We did the shot for the baseball bet. Oh, I probably should just be taking shots on the regular because
good Lord, the Mets are a mess.
They really are. One win since July 28th.
You need a CBD gummy from my friends at Cornbread.
Yeah, sure.
Been looking for a natural way to relieve the stress and discomfort from watching Mets baseball. You could do so with Cornbread Hemp's CBD gummies.
Take 3 in the morning.
Look, I'm not as young as I once was. I get pains for no reason. Elbow hurts when I wake up. No idea why. Then it doesn't. Then it's fine. Next day, foot hurts. Next day, neck hurts. Next day, I don't know. Feels like I've got a spasm in my left shoulder. Out of nowhere. That's right. That's not good for your mental wellness. Not good for your physical wellness. I take Cornbread Hemp CBD gummies. Whether I need to or not, I take them. If you've tried everything under the sun for your peace of mind and physical wellness, try Cornbread Hemp's CBD gummies. They work, relieves the stress, formulated to help relieve discomfort, stress, and sleeplessness. Now, that's a big one because I have that problem. Right now, Jeff Cameron Show listeners can save 30% on their first order. Just head to cornbreadhemp.com/warchant. Use code warchant at checkout. That's cornbreadhemp.com/warchant. Remember to use the code warchant.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Overcast skies this afternoon with storms likely. High temperatures reach up to 83. Southeast winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies tonight. Chance of thunderstorms. Lows level off around 75. Chance of thunderstorms tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 90. A blend of clouds and sun. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 80.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Some men follow the crowd. Others take the long way, the wayward way. At thewaywardgent.com, we've curated the gear, gadgets, and grit every respectable man needs, from the fairway to the fire pit. We've identified the top-rated Amazon finds, so you don't have to. No fluff, just the good stuff. Visit thewaywardgent.com for the man who's not afraid to live a little off course. Thewaywardgent.com.
Water is your home's worst enemy. It finds cracks, soft spots, and weaknesses. But not on our watch. At Gutter Solutions and Waterproofing, we're veteran-owned and built different, driven by detail and the pursuit of excellence. We install seamless gutters, underground drainage, and waterproofing systems that don't fail. Because when you live with discipline, water doesn't stand a chance. Gutter Solutions and Waterproofing. Visit guttersolutions.net. With us, it's personal. A roof isn't decoration. It's your home's first line of defense. At GSWP Roofing, we treat every build like it's mission critical. We're GAF Master Elite certified, led by a former Marine. And we don't cut corners. We execute with discipline, precision, and materials that hold the line. Storm after storm, year after year. Repairs, replacements, full installs. This is roofing done by the book. No excuses, no shortcuts. GSWP Roofing. Online at gswproofing.com. With us, you're covered.
License number CCC 1335048. Love to compete on the dartboard? Then it's time to head to the CP. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is Tallahassee's premier dart bar, featuring steel-tip boards and soft-tip internet play. The Corner Pocket hosts leagues and tournaments regularly. Just check out their social media to find a time that works for you. And in between games, grab a pint and a bite in the cool AC, or enjoy yourself outside on the deck. Whether you want to catch a game or start one of your own, the place to be is the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachian Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Who went above and beyond? I don't know who Tommy's going to take here, but our friends at AboveAndBeyondVR.com are expecting to hear from you, Lang. So when I take Justin Rose and you're out there stumbling in the dark, you better come up with something. AboveAndBeyondVR.com. Cue it up.
Above and beyond. Above and beyond. Above and beyond.
Above
and beyond.
This feels like we need more. You left us in a lurch there a little bit. AboveAndBeyondVR.com. Go check out the properties. Well done there. 30-plus properties, 18 pools to go along with, being right by the beach, could be downtown, could be at the park, could be on the water, could be both. All the things, man. And we just got a wonderful review recently about somebody who went, or from somebody who went over there from Tallahassee.
Went to the Coastal Bliss unit, which was across from our unit. It's on the screen now from Ashley.
Yeah, and I said, well, good job, Ashley. Good job. What you need to know, wonderful experience. Highly recommend booking with ABVR. You're damn right you do. And if you use promo code JCS, you get 10% off. You're already bypassing the middleman fees. None of that nonsense. None of the VRBO fees or anything like that. So like 4 nights for $677. What are we doing?
So this is a 3-night package during Labor Day weekend, which is usually, when you get gouged a little bit. You
gouged, I tell you.
Yeah, $6.25.
It's like the gas stations after a hurricane.
That's right, exactly.
Just steady screwing people.
$6.25 for the beautiful cabin in downtown Dunedin.
That one's gorgeous, man. I like all of them. I would get the beach one, not that one, although I love that one. Like maybe I'd live in that one, but then I would make my way over to my coastal delight.
You don't call it Coastal Bliss, you call it your Coastal Delight?
I call it my Coastal Delight. You'll find me at my Coastal Delight. But anyhow, you got a lot of choices. Choices, my point. I'm going Justin Rose, who birdied everything down the stretch. He knew eventually Tommy Fleetwood would choke because that's what Tommy Fleetwood does, and it breaks my heart because I like Tommy Fleetwood. I wish he'd stop choking, especially in tournaments in which I sprinkled a little pizza money on him to win in the outright market, which I did. It's all right. I won the week because I had him and I had Ludwig, who finished in the top 15, so I was good with that. Aberg was good this weekend. I was good, and Schoffel had a good final day, which got me to -6 with him. That's 3 in the top 25, big dog. That's winning some money for yours truly, but could have had the outright, which in a tournament that features Scheffler means you make money, lots of it, and I was that close, and then the choke job happened, but Rose took it. He earned it. He's good. Making putts every which way to Sunday. Spawn is good, too. It was fun. I enjoyed the event in Memphis. Yours, who went above and beyond.
So tongue-in-cheek here, but the New York Mets starting rotation is doing something never done since 1901, at least. They can't track it before this.
They'll find it.
Consecutive days where a starting pitcher goes at least 6 innings. I told you, I do backflips if we get an out in the 6th from somebody not named David Peterson.
Mm-hmm.
The Mets are into game 53, 55.
Without getting to the 6th?
Without having two guys on back-to-back days get it out in the 6th,
They
get
can't
through
get
6 innings. They can't do it.
Can't
Only
do it.
time since 1901. And in truth, and this one's easy because one is actually above and the other's beyond, one for each of the words.
Nicely done.
The Desir twins. My God. If you had a drinking game watching Tony White press conferences and you had to do a shot every time you heard the name Desir or the word twins,
it's true.
You would be blottoed by minute 6.
Blitz!
Every single one of his pressers. Now, we don't get Tony until after the Bama game. Today was the last time we got both of the coordinators before the game.
It'll hurt your heart.
Which is interesting. We'll see if he does it again with the Desir twins, but the preseason Desir twin count from Tony White in terms of mentions has to be around 65 or 70.
You know, I find it fascinating, Tom. I don't know what to think about that, but I do know they've been productive, so we're going to play them. I just don't like having to rely on really young guys on the defensive side of the ball, but hey, so be it. Above and beyond VR.com. It's our guys. Hey, the top 25 preseason 2025 football All-American team came out. Cade Klubnik listed as your first team quarterback. Jeremiah Love, your first team running back. Nick Singleton, who I like a little bit more at Penn State, on that list as well. Jeremiah Smith, Ohio State at wide receiver. Guess who the other receiver is?
Ryan Williams.
That's correct. Ding, ding, we face him. Eli Stowers of Vanderbilt, you're tied in. Offensive line. Alabama got plenty of them dudes. Spencer Fano, Utah, stud. Caden Proctor for Alabama. Jake Slaughter at Florida. Damn it, man.
Great name.
Great name. I would have already told you that Olave Ione was going to be on this list because he's Samoan, and Samoans are badasses. And the Adams kid at Texas A&M is on this list as well. Desmond Reed, all-purpose player from Pitt on that list. We'll see him.
Really?
Yep.
Desmond Reed. All right.
You've got Dylan Stewart at South Carolina at one defensive end, TJ Parker at the other. He plays for Clemson. You remember him.
Yeah.
They always have guys that look menacing on the defensive side of the ball. We seldom do these days. Speaking of which, Peter Woods of Clemson is on this list of defensive tackle.
What a name.
You know, the other side is LT Overton of Alabama. We're going to see him too. A lot of these dudes we're going to see.
I know it.
We're going to get to see these guys up close and personal, buddy. Anthony Hill Jr. at linebacker for Texas, but guess what? Kyle Lewis at linebacker for Pitt. Considered to be one of the best linebackers in the league. Pitt's got like 6 guys on these first 3 teams. Like, we feel good about the Pitt game? Gabe Jackus, hey now, for Illinois, he's a linebacker. I got all kinds of jokes, got to leave it alone. Jermon McCoy at Tennessee is a corner. Leonard Moore at Notre Dame, a corner at safety. Caleb Downs at Ohio State. Michael Taffy at Texas, specialist. Kicker is for Michigan. Punter from Georgia. Kick returner, Barian Brown from LSU. And then there's a bunch of second-team guys, and they all belong to Clemson. It's just over and over and over.
Well, yeah, going by the AP poll, a third of our opponents are in the top 15 this year. A third. Because Florida's at 15, and we all know that Alabama, Clemson, Miami were going to be ahead of them.
Francis Magua, the
Maui Noah.
Yeah, Maui Goa.
Maui Noah. It's pronounced Maui Noah because his brother was a linebacker for Miami that was really good.
Yeah, he's the offensive lineman for Miami. He's on that list. Parker Brailsford for Alabama is on that list, of course. Can we find it? Florida State on the list here. Another Alabama linebacker
they're
on
going to be on the
list.
postseason list, not the preseason list. This
Another guy
list.
from Clemson on that list at corner. Another guy from Clemson on that list at safety. Sweet Jesus, Clemson. There's your list. There's your list.
It's great. Call it the sober up list.
Whew. That'll get you.
Like a cup of coffee.
That will get you right there. Ruben Bain on that list. You know he is.
Oh, of course.
A lot of guys. Alabama's got another guy there, too, I just saw. That's like 9.
We are going to be the toughest team in America by the time we get through this gauntlet.
Yeah, God help you if you're one of these teams without any of these dudes. We will have seen others littered with them by the time we face you.
Good luck with that, Stanford.
Yeah, I mean, goodness gracious. We will have to take the time here in the next few days, well, as we get a little bit closer to the start of the season. I will say, I've been doing the camp updates like I did with Alabama this morning, looking to see, they had their first scrimmage yesterday, trying to get a feel for what they're doing. And I did a team by team that is on our schedule. And I don't root for these kinds of injuries unless you're a horrible human being who's done something awful you abused a kid, you hurt an animal, you did something awful to a woman, something like that, then I do root for you to be injured and devastatingly so. But other than that, I don't root for injuries. But when I see them and they're going to affect the potential outcome of a game, they're worth noting. And again, you're going to think I'm being sarcastic. I'm not. I went through several of the teams we play, and there have been an unfortunate rash of injuries for those teams, Tom. I'm not even kidding. Like Virginia's lost a few starters already. Couple of others that, go game by game. You're like, oh, so he's going to be done for the year. He's going to be done for the year. He's going to be done for the year. And they were all like counted upon dudes.
It has no bearing on what we're doing here in Tallahassee, but it does feel as though you're at a computer laboratory and everybody's playing Minesweeper sitting next to each other and they're dropping like flies next to you. And you just keep on clicking those squares.
Yeah. I'm sorry. That sucks for you.
It shouldn't influence what happens with the square you click, but I'd be careful. You put that out in the wind. And especially with our program's luck.
No. Again, I sat down objectively just to read more about how things are going in the camps of teams that we face on our schedule, because I do think the margins are where we're going to live, man. We're not a dominant team yet. We're not back to that status. There aren't games other than the second game and the third game that you can assume a lot.
13 needed that offensive line to stay healthy, right? The championship team needed that.
Yeah, so
we need that at like 7 positions.
So what I'm saying, especially on defense, but what I'm saying when I go through this, I'm sitting there looking, I'm like, oh, well, that's unfortunate. That sucks for him. I mean, I don't wish that, but it does impact the way I view that game. When you lose your starting left tackle for the year, or your starting center, or your starting nose tackle, or something along those lines, and there's a lot of that out there right now. Just saying. Knock on wood. We've gotten through both sanctioned scrimmages, I guess, if you would. And I think for the most part, they've got some guys that are dinged. We mentioned McCoy and some
receiver,
others.
tight end.
They get some guys that are dinged. But for the most part, it doesn't seem like there's been and again, I just knock on wood that's going to be okay. Third, final hour, bonus hour, if you will, coming up next. Jeff Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio, and Warchant TV.